Welcome everybody to this fifth in our series, Coffee and Uche Okeke, beautiful conversations about Uche Okeke and the Uche Okeke Legacy with our various wonderful guests. It's a beautiful series. I'm so excited to be your host, and my name is Tamzin Lovell. I'm the founder and CEO of Art Fundi. I have with me on the stage today Salma Uche-Okeke, daughter of the late Christopher Uche Okeke. And we're here to there's kind of an empty chair on the stage with us as well, on this virtual stage, and that would have been filled by Salma's sister, Ijeoma Loren. And today, or it's the eve of, tomorrow would have been a year since Ijeoma has passed, and since we lost a remarkable soul. Ijeoma's vibrant spirit, though, lives on through her incredible contributions as a mother, family member, a devoted sister, an art curator, a board member to many arts organizations, and a beacon of inspiration to all of us who knew her. And we remember so many things about Ijeoma: her infectious laughter, her unwavering dedication, and the profound impact that she left on the arts community. Ijeoma is forever in our thoughts. So it's kind of a sad conversation today, but I hope one in which we are honoring a beautiful soul that needs to be remembered. And of course, Ijeoma has a big place, a major place in the Uche Okeke legacy. It was a big part of her life. As the CEO of Asele Institute and the co-director with Salma of the Uche Okeke Legacy, she was very passionately building and creating this work that we're now continuing in her absence. And so today is a special day to remember, to honor, and to talk about Ijeoma and I guess what she would be feeling now a year later about the Uche Okeke legacy and the progress we're making on the work that she started. So Salma, perhaps for the audience, would you introduce your sister to them as perhaps one of the people who knows her the best or the closest? Tell us a bit about the person that Ijeoma Uche-Okeke was.
Ijeoma Loren Uche-Okeke, better known to most people simply as Ijeoma or Ije, was the second daughter of Uche Okeke. She was the one that went on to study fine arts and built a career throughout her lifetime in the arts. A lot of people would know Ijeoma to be that gentle person that got along with practically anybody, irrespective of gender, race, what part of the world you would come from, what social status. She was that quintessential bridge builder. And a lot of people remember her for her ability to listen. I think that was one of her most endearing qualities, and she was always fiercely loyal. We are proud that she went ahead to build such an outstanding career in her area of choice, which happens mostly to be art management. And I remember her especially, apart from being my little sister, for being that person who I did every single thing with, including continuing the legacy work of her father. I don't know, Tamzin, if that's a good enough introduction.
Yes, that's beautiful. I remember that kindness that you speak about. Even in her voice, she had a beautiful, warm, soft voice, strong but kind. That generosity of spirit that she had shone through in her whole demeanor and in the way that she spoke to people, the way, as you said, she listened to people. And I think that aspect of her personality certainly touched me, and I'm sure it touched countless people's lives.
Tolerance.
And of course,
for people, her ability to accommodate. These are some of the sterling qualities that she had that enabled her to build a formidable network in the creative circles.
She does have this great network. I was chatting to somebody, we're busy working on I'm helping them with a grant application for another thing, a poetry festival. But she said, we have a mutual friend, Ijeoma Loren and she was on the board. And the lady I'm referring to is Georgina Thompson, and she was the director of the dance umbrella in Johannesburg, and Ijeoma was on her board. And she just smiled when she mentioned Ijeoma's name and told me, as so many other people that ever speak about Ijeoma, it's always just with this smile and warmth and fondness. I think that's a great legacy to leave, that people remember you so beautifully. Salma, that quality that you mentioned of tolerance and being able to accommodate people, it strikes me that that's a quality that you have as well. And listening to previous conversations during this series, it came through again and again as a quality that your father was really strong in. He was open to so many people. He had different points of view. He was a listener, and he traveled widely. He was interested in so many different people's points of view. And I'm guessing he raised both Ijeoma and yourself to have these qualities. And it's such a beautiful thing. Do you want to share any? Do you remember specifically incidences when your father taught you these qualities, or how did they come about?
I would say that these kinds of qualities are probably innate, probably inherited. I think so. But just to take us a few steps back, Ijeoma and myself were never exactly the very same type of people. She was a lot more tolerant than myself, certainly. What we all shared in common was that openness of mind, which characterized our father. And I believe that we probably got that, through the bloodline. And then again, probably through training, because we were basically brought up to have an open mind. If anybody would go back to some of the conversations we've had, especially that first one I had with Lucinda that talks about the man, I think it will give a little bit more interesting inroad into what I'm talking about. it was a natural thing because it wasn't exactly the same for everybody in that sense. Some of us will be more of listeners, and some will be more of talkers. But one thing that I find, even with my two brothers, is that broadness of mind, that readiness to accept other people's views, even if that is not exactly your own view. I mean, that knowledge that every view is legitimate on its own, and everybody has a right to their view, to their viewpoint. And maybe just living around a man like our father, not by any, if it was a deliberate training on his part, we wouldn't know, because, I've also mentioned that most of his type of mentoring was done, without you even knowing that that was what he was doing, both with his students and with his friends and family. It was just about the same thing. You wouldn't know what was happening, but I can say categorically that staying around him and seeing how he got along with all kinds of diverse people, how he never had, and this is literally, never had any criticism about a person's viewpoint, a person's culture, a person's character, not those kinds of things. He never had any criticism about those kinds of things. We were basically brought up in an environment of live and let live, so to speak. And so maybe that also impacted on us in ways we didn't know.
I would imagine it did. It's a kind of freedom. Yeah. Because when you have the opposite effect, and I was fortunate I had a similar open-mindedness in my family setting, but if you have the opposite, if you're constantly hitting criticisms, even if they're pointed at other people, they're there to guide you, right? Every time a parent says, I don't approve of this or that or the other, it's a way of guiding you. It narrows your path and it narrows your mind. And I'm so glad I didn't have that, and you clearly didn't. Yeah. You clearly had this beautiful freedom, this open mind from your father. And I wonder if being an artist makes you more inclined that way, or if it's more of a personality thing. It's interesting.
It's really interesting, and it's difficult even to be completely sure, because I mean, I could say if I look at my father and his siblings, there are certain similarities and certain differences, but again, by far, he was the most broad-minded of the lot. He still has 2 siblings alive today out of 7, including himself. But, he was the most broad-minded. I mean, if we had to live with any other of his sibling, maybe his most junior sister, maybe to an extent, you would find that there would be many more preconceived notions, and things have to be done this way, just this way, and such things that he didn't have. And so growing up around him, I rather think that there was this feeling like we had too much freedom. And I remember him making a comment and saying, because it was like we had so much freedom and we did what we wanted to do. And then there was that concern if we were going to amount to anything, because you just get to do what you want to do when you want to do it, in a sense, You know, I'm looking at it from the outside, well, although it wasn't exactly that way, but that's how it looked like, you know. So it was like, and he made a comment to me and he said he doesn't know why. You know, they think that we won't be able to do things, you know. And I remember then I was just wrapping up my secondary school education, and, you know, I just heard that and I just packed it somewhere. I didn't even make a comment. But he was just thinking aloud and he made that comment, you know, and it all had to do with his style.
Yes, his
style of bringing up kids was that free. Was like I've mentioned before, was like he didn't even treat anybody like a child per se, and so you just had to take responsibility for your decisions early enough, and you know, and take the consequences of it. You know, which I think freed him also to get on with his own stuff. But, you know, but that was a kind of environment, you know. So looking at it from the outside, it may look like a little bit chaotic, you know, but not knowing that the consequence of any action had to be borne by that person. So you can imagine if you tried something and you the consequence wasn't something you wanted to deal with, then you won't do it again, isn't it? Nobody would tell you.
Did his siblings find him fascinating?
That was the other thing. His siblings absolutely loved him because of those same qualities that we've talked about with Ijeoma.
He was so different.
He was, you know, he was a connector. You know, he was an enabler. And that is what I came to find out exactly what Ijeoma was. Because
yes,
when
she was
met
very
all the diverse people, I mean, I keep hearing of people, but, you know, some of them I didn't quite have anything to do with them until when she passed. And it was like a window completely into her life that I hadn't even really taken note of all that time. You know, that ability to connect with people, you know, how important people hold you, you know, because you hold them to be important also. It was something like that also happened when my father passed on. But I lived with him and I saw when he was never like, you know, even when it was like, oh, maybe somebody had done something wrong to him in the sense of, you know, people that were within his creative circle. He only saw the positive side. And that is Ijeoma for you.
Yes, indeed. It really was. She was a remarkable woman. Let's speak a bit about her achievements, because she was a very accomplished leader and also a very creative leader. And she was a brilliant curator. And she contributed so much to the art industry, the art world, forming a collaborator or contributor to many boards. Can you tell us a bit about that kind of dedication that she had to all her endeavors?
Now, that kind of dedication is definitely something that we grew up in. Of course, some people will be able to do it better than others, you know, if they are naturally equipped to do such things. But Ijeoma was the little sister. She was the one that when she was small, I keep hearing this story from my mom, how she had, I think it was measles, and then that weakened her. And, you know, so she was a bit fragile growing up. And it is really amazing because most people would not imagine how far she could go. But she always was somebody that wanted to do things as perfectly as she could. She was always somebody that would stay the course. She was always somebody that wanted to share her knowledge and learn from other people. And she was always somebody that was dedicated to a cause. And I'm glad that I was able to walk on our father's legacy together with her.
She was.
That opened up a whole lot of her personality to me that I would have probably taken for granted.
Tell us a bit about that. The two of you coming together and deciding to build this Uche Okeke legacy, and how you went about that work together as two sisters.
It's really been a long, long, long journey, starting from when our father was still very much on the job himself. I remember I finished secondary school, and I never discussed any of this with Ijeoma. I finished my secondary school and I was waiting to get into college. And then I volunteered myself to go with him for meetings. I act as his PA. He was building up the Asala Institute and, working on members and some classified groups that were like almost like patrons of the it was almost like a club, and so they were having meetings with all these big wigs that I knew them as family friends, as family. And I just said, okay, I'll follow you. And you had to travel to Nemo then, because he was already building the institute at that time. I just wanted to have something doing, but I offered. He didn't ask me, and so I noticed that all those men, where they felt so proud of me, because most of them had known me when I was a baby, and they were so proud that I would volunteer for such a thing. And I took it very seriously, and I just took notes, that kind of thing. That was how it started off for me. Of course, apart from that, we were always around the whole frenzy of the evolution of the soca, the Uli movement in the soca, and all the artists and all the people that came in and out from all over the world, the kind of that period busting with activity. So maybe that also helped to shape us. And myself and Ijeoma, we had always been close, because she was right behind me. But it wasn't even something I ever thought about, really. I was the senior one and she was the junior one. And, somehow we just clicked somehow, because it doesn't always click that way. And there were some things we loved in common. I remember we had this particular interest in interior decoration. We always had shared rooms. And so, we would always want to change the arrangement of our room and this and that, just like that. We were doing these things together. And I went off to secondary school before her, and then she went to secondary school. And I got into college before her also. And I'm almost 3 years older than her. And she came in afterwards. But, I was always somehow, with hindsight, in a sense, she looked up to me, in a sense. And in a sense, maybe she would go towards what I was going towards, or possibly because we just had the same interests anyway, somehow. It wasn't anything that was discussed. It just happened to gel that way. And so there we started off the journey. Well, my dad had wanted to, he had actually filled the forms, the entrance forms for me to go and study architecture in university. And I got it when I was in secondary school. I just tore it and got another form. And I decided I wanted to do theater arts, dramatic arts. And all he asked me was, well, why do you want to do that? And I said, well, because I don't know what I would like to do in the arts yet. So I just want, a kind of exposure to all the different aspects. I knew definitely I was into the creative sector, but I hadn't decided what. So I could see he nodded and thought, oh, that's a good idea. But Ijeoma went into the arts. Apparently, she'd always loved it. And she wasn't the strongest in terms of art. Ironically, my brother, the first one, Chuma, would most likely be the strongest, followed by me. I mean, I was somebody that when I was 4 years old, I doodled over paper and my dad put it in for a competition and I won the first prize. But I didn't go into it, But Ijeoma did. And if there's somebody that became an encyclopedia of Uche Okeke, that is Ijeoma for you. Apparently, she absolutely loved his art. Absolutely. She studied him. Of course, she had studied him in school when she was studying art, but she had real, I would say, mad love for his type of art.
She must have been so proud when at school he was on the curriculum, and she was like, "That's my."
Was expecting her to be the strong one in that direction, but and she went into it because that was her passion, and I didn't even quite realize until when we started working on the legacy project. Because automatically, anything that had to do with art, I would simply move it towards her. After my dad had fallen sick and was not quite, so I'll push to her and I would, accept her decision because she was in that sector. Even if I grew up in the sector, but she was actively in that sector. So I left her to advise.
Thinking about her really does remind us about the power of passion and purpose.
And what would passion and purpose? Yeah.
And if you think about the work that she had begun in terms of the Uche Okeke Legacy, that we're continuing, that you're continuing, and we're supporting you in, what do you think she would be thinking of now? What do you think her advice to us would be a year on with regard to that?
Well, before I answer that
question, with so much dedication and love.
Yeah, before I answer that question, I would like to just, expound a little bit on how myself and Ijeoma worked together, and the two completed the act. And so it was a beautiful flow. Like you start a sentence and somebody finishes it, and it could be from any side. That was the beauty of it, So we depended completely on each other and respected each other's expertise, respected each other's past experiences, and had that commonness of background that bound us together, and had that understanding of what we were to do, because Uche Okeke had left his blueprint anyway, and we were there. We grew up with him, So it was so total that if today we are able to move a little bit, it will be because that foundation was right. If you remember when Ijeoma passed on, we didn't stop for one day, even if we had to be a little bit slower. But that was simply because we had managed to get it to that point together. What would Ijeoma say today? I know that she'll be happy that we're continuing in that direction.
I feel like her spirit is certainly continuing to guide the endeavors of the Uche Okeke legacy.
Absolutely.
And her absence is most deeply felt, especially will be tomorrow, but her impact continues.
I think the beauty of her absence is that were able to continue the work. I think if we were not able to continue the work that she had put in so much for, it would have been a much blacker hole. But the light in the horizon is that her passion is being continued, and being continued in the way that she would have definitely approved.
She had so much joy as well in the work.
Exactly. It was a journey of, self-discovery for both of us and for everyone else that gets involved. A personal experience for every single person, and it's different for each person. An exciting journey, and I'm so glad that she was able to partake in this journey. Which is what she had been doing for so long, because she went and studied art, and then she continued building a career in the art. And one of the first people to promote Uche Okeke's works, actively was Ijeoma herself after she finished college. So like we talk about engineer Shilon, and how did he get Uche Okeke's works? It's through Ijeoma. So it's been a long journey, and it's only right that she was able to feed on her passion and go as far as she could possibly go, and I'm very sure that she was fulfilled in that way.
And as we think about her memory, it reminds us with the joy that she had in her life and in people and in the work that she did, it reminds us to cherish every moment and to continue the work that she held so dear. And we wish Ijeoma to rest in peace and know that she is still much loved and deeply missed.
The joy she had. And that is one thing, that is one reason why we have never thought of her in darkness or even mourning. No. Because she loved life, and she was always joyful. There was nobody that could have met her that wouldn't have noticed that about her. I think that was one of the most striking things about her. And in remembering her, we like to, feed off that joy. We like to project her with that exuberance that she had in life. We don't ever want her to be cloaked in darkness, and we would rather have that joy, just brimming over the way she always had it in her lifetime.
Indeed, her light does shine on.
I think, it's funny how things happen, but really, I think this is the right thing we're supposed to do anyway.
Yes, it is funny, isn't it?
Yeah, but even if we had Bruce Onobebaya there, we would have definitely have to mention Ijeoma, because tomorrow is her anniversary.
Yes. So,
but I think it's good. And let's see if the recording isn't okay, then we redo it. It's good to have it there. It's just the right thing to do.
It is indeed. We'll have this lovely recording, and Bruce.
On Monday we're doing. Yes, I think we definitely have to do more of this after September. Maybe like once in a month. It has a lot of advantages. Bringing in people. And gradually we'll start building our audiences also for the events.
Yes, it does take time. So Bruce Mudiari said they will come back.
Okay.
Set up properly on September the 14th. So we will.
Is that possible to do it then?
Yes, so they will do this same thing on September the 14th. We'll keep it with them. We'll do it with them on September the 14th.
Okay, because we can do it on that day and later post it, right?
Yes.
Or what? Because you already have a whole this thing. That's fine. And somebody that would definitely want to do something is Dimas Nwoko.
Yes, and he would be amazing because he's also yes.
Exactly.
Let's do that.
There's still several people that would want it. That's why it's good for us to keep doing it. Keep doing it. I think it has so many advantages. It will keep us in view of people, help us build content that can be used in other ways on other channels, help drive traffic to the site.
Yeah.
So
yes,
and these are all things we need to do right now.
Yes, exactly. Okay, perfect.
If I may as well, sorry to interrupt. The Tamzin and I, sorry to interrupt like this, but Tamzin and I were talking, and it actually lines up so well with Bruce coming on the 14th, because that's when we'll be in the midst of the generative AI stuff, and it's a collaborative thing. So the fact that we'll be speaking with a true, an original collaborator, and speaking about Zaraya and all of that, it's, the peak of their collaboration. So it will fit in quite nicely.
Okay, so
yes, it will. We'll make
perfect.
Maybe things happen the way they are meant to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was so lovely to listen to, you guys. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
So it's so good to hear about Ijeoma in such a way.
Yeah. And Ijeoma was an amazing girl. When do you think we can put out the social across the social media for her? When can we do that?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow?
Yes, Michelle is here with us. When would you like?
Oh, Michelle.
Have you selected from the ones I sent you, Salma, which ones you would like us to use?
Oh, no, I didn't select anything. I just left it to you guys.
Okay. Perfect.
Just anything. Yeah.
We'll use several. We'll maybe pick a couple of different ones.
Yes. But let each one be more like happy. That joy is what we want to project more, not really the grief. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
Yes, memorial rather than
We still want to celebrate her. We still want her light to shine. I mean, that's what we said in September when we took off. Because we just engaged at Fundi in August, and then she was gone in September, 1st of September. So it wasn't even up to a month,
No, exactly.
Yes, but then we said, let's make sure we continue the work in her name. So, and that's exactly what has carried us through, because we haven't allowed it to dampen, and it has been a beautiful experience going on, and making her life even more purposeful by so doing. Imagine if everything had fallen apart because she died. It would have been So this is it, and we do feel her presence somehow, and I mean, if she was here, I'm sure this is exactly what we'll be doing anyway. So we go on, yeah.
How do you think, I don't know if this was asked, I was listening, but things got noisy in my house. How do you think she would feel about everything that we've done and where the project has gone?
Oh, I mean, everything has gone exactly in the direction she would want it to go. Because you see, what the thing was that when we picked on Tamzin and Atfundi, we already got a like spirit. So that was it. We don't have all the answers to anything. So we are, also taking it one step at a time, but there's nothing like when it flows. Because if it flows, then you just move together. She would have done it exactly like this also.
Yeah.
She would have done it exactly like this also. This is where we would be anyway. She's just not physically here. This is where we would be. We couldn't have done it any differently from what we've been doing so far. I should have been quite excited to see the website up. Would have been very happy about, the launch programs, the NFT thing. I mean, we never even discussed that with her. I should have been very happy, but I know that when she was thinking of a 2020 project, before the COVID, when that particular exhibition was supposed to start in South Africa, go to Germany, and then come to Nigeria, that didn't happen until last year, but starting from Germany, that it ended up in 2022. But then she had thought about some curated exhibition. There was one, I think she's a Kenyan lady. She hadn't met you by then, Tamzin. There's a Kenyan lady that does such things. And she was, and for that one, because, what we were thinking about was for that, her project, she was thinking more like, that's another thing that's very similar to what we're doing. She wanted, and we didn't discuss it, Tamzin, but what she had conceptualized was a kind of a kind of conversation with artists that hadn't known Uche Okeke, and see how he resonates for them today.
Right.
She had that in mind. And she had in mind that we were going to select. In fact, she started putting those things together, selecting people that would participate, in that conversation, and it was also supposed to be multi, how do I put it? Different parts, different aspects of the creative arts, not just the fine and applied one. And she had also thought of also in the process, because that Kenyan lady, I think she's Kenyan, I would still try to look for her email address, would also record the process of producing those works that are in dialogue with Uche Okeke,
Yes.
And, she wanted to start it off in that was her plan for South Africa, for the exhibition in South Africa. So did she discuss that with you, Tamzin?
No, she didn't, but makes...
But look how we ended up finding our way all the way back there. This is exactly what we're doing. Yeah. And then we didn't have a website, so we weren't even thinking of website. I don't know, those people were just going to get that done for us, and then I don't know how that was going to happen, because we weren't even talking about a website by then. We didn't have a budget for that then. But that is exactly what we're doing, basically. And, it just goes to show how if something is right, then it happens,
Yes.
because I didn't tell you anything, basically also the way we work, we also want to get your own views. We also want to get what you're thinking. I mean, that's why we're partnering. So we don't have to limit ourselves to, the little we know. So we work together and we still ended up right there.
Yes.
So, everything we are doing is what Ijeoma would have been very excited about, very happy about the direction we are going, happy to take your assistance technically, because none of us is proficient in that direction, your consultation and all that, and have the patience, just like I have. I mean, I think this is out of 4 siblings, at least 3 are like that. But it came out strongest in both myself and her, because our mother is actually a different kettle of fish altogether. But but Ijeoma is the one that is more, which is ridiculous, because they would have said I was more like my dad, but she is much more, in terms of character. So and ironically, I didn't even realize it all those years until when she was gone. To the extent. But I knew she was the right person to be the face of the legacy, because she was proficient in that field. She had built her networks in that field. She had experience, and she had the passion, So, so what I did mostly was to work on the structures, and then to sort of guide her, because I have more managerial skills than she does, or she did. So guide her a little bit, but then she was very fast. She was very fast, And guidance from our point of view is never like holding anybody's hands. So she has to swim by herself anyway. Yeah, so I know we're doing the right thing, and that was why myself and her fought that we must continue with you. We must work with you. So it's just right. If you want to do work, if you want to work with someone, you easily get a gut feeling or something.
Yeah.
When it's right. Yes, and it
Especially work like this.
and it works. Yeah, I'm very sure that by the end of the year, we'll see just how much we've done. Even now, it looks like it's nothing, but it's a whole lot. I know how myself and Ijeoma were walking. On the outside, it looked like we weren't doing anything. But, we walked to the point where she went and we were able to continue.
Yes.
That's a whole lot. It may not seem like anything, but it's a whole lot.
Yes, things take time to build up and put in place.
Yes. And if you have the people that don't have that like mindset of having the patience to wait for the build-up,
yes, you're quite right.
That wouldn't be patient at all. The elder of my two brothers. Brothers are not as patient as myself and Ijeoma at all. That is why the legacy, the continuation of the legacy was actually vested in us. It was just a natural thing for us to take it up, for us to be passionate about it, and for us to, run with it. Now that she's not there, there's some parts of it that she was handling that I have to improve myself on to work better. But the good thing is, most of what we are going to do is going to be with Adfundi, really. And that
we're so blessed.
A very good partnership. And the beauty of it all is the whole team. You see, the whole team. How Ayla and I are getting along so well. So much, but every time she gets anything done, I can see that she's fully aligned. Yeah. The little time we had with, I think it was Steve.
Yes.
It was, so you just know you're in the right community.
Community it's going to be interesting. Yes, it's going to be so interesting to see how we build this community of around Uche Okeke Legacy.
I'm very sure we will. I just pray that God gives us the life to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm very sure we will. And now, it was with Ijeoma gone and me being there, it was still possible to continue the work. So we also have that. When it was two of us, we were already like, how long do we have to do this? How long do we have to get this to a point where others can go on, So now we have this race between us now to get it to that point also where it can be more seamless.
Yeah.
Like if anything were to happen to me today, it should be able to go on, but we have to get into that stage. We're able to go on because I was there with Ijeoma shoulder to shoulder and able to continue and continue from the point where she had brought in those people that would help us, you see, and continue with those people,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But what if? So, these are some of the things, so each time when we're working, we're also working with passion, but also working with strategy so that, and it's much the same thing that will be happening with Adfundi. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of the progress you're making, and it's also well deserved because you put in the work, and I will also look back in a couple of years and will say Adfundi.
Yes.
These guys, So so that's it. So we're all growing together. Well done.
Yes. Onwards and onwards. Thank you.
It's been rough on all of us. It's been a lot of work. It's been, but it has been completely enjoyable. I hope everybody has enjoyed it too.
Yes, we do. We love working with you, Salma, in particular.
It's been a lot of work. Well done. I really appreciate all the effort and the long nights and everything,
Thank
You should
you.
just keep getting better and better. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Salma, and thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And
If I may, before we go, Arike is here again.
yes,
And
Yes, he tried to get in. Hello, Ireke.
Hi.
So
Can you hear me? Okay, so
Thank you so much. I didn't see you. I wasn't sure you were the one. Ireke, did you get
Yes.
a lot of the conversation?
just the end bit. Well, just the end bit. I actually couldn't get it. It was my wife that patiently went through the whole thing and got me on board. I just couldn't figure out to navigate it and all that stuff. But I got the bit about 5 minutes of the last discussion. Yeah, and so I got a feel of what the conversation was on. Yeah,
It would be good to hear your voice because last week he was here and he had that sound issue. Remember, Ayla? And while we were on stage, he was calling me. Of course, I couldn't pick the call at that time, so I just sent him. He said he couldn't get in with the old link. And naturally, we had sent you the bulk message via your email, but so I didn't bother to send him anything on his WhatsApp or to send him directly. So maybe he missed it. So I had to now copy that email message to him, and that's how he was able to get in. So it probably took him a little bit of time, but he had wanted to say a few words last week. So I think this week he really must. Ireke, we had to change the topic. Because Uncle Bruce Onobabeya was not able to come in last minute, but that is a blessing in its own. He will come at a later date. But tomorrow is Ijeoma's anniversary, so we decided to use this session to reminisce about her. So, are you recording, Ayla?
I am, yes. I'm still recording.
So, Ireke, if you have any words on Ijeoma, please.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Ijeoma was a very fun person, and we had lots of laugh times together. I mean, we had these jokes that we all used to share. Remember, oh baby, like when back in Nigeria, the fun times she used to have and the jokes. She was a very jovial person, and there was no dull moment around her. She was just effervescent, she was just live wire. Yeah, that's the word to use. And she was just lovable. You just couldn't help but love her, and and we had lots of dreams together. I remember when I got to see how much she was doing with your dad's legacy, I was so impressed, And one of the things we talked about, if you remember, Salma, was about because when unfortunately I never got to see your dad in real life, which was just a shame because of how close we were. I was to your family. I was like, how come I never got to see your dad? But then I guess that was just the irony of life. Yeah, But then when I now got to see his works, I was so dazed. They were like, these are very powerful, very very powerful works. The use of colors. They were they were really gripped me, and it got me thinking, which was one of the things I shared with Ijeoma. Remember when I talked about how it could actually influence film direction, cinematography, movies and all that stuff, and that's one thing I still want to explore. I want to explore because when I got to learn about his philosophy of synthesis, it all made sense to me how sophisticated he was, how very advanced he was about the place of his art in the human experience, and how it wasn't meant to be dated, but it was meant to be current, forever trendy, forever current. And one of the things about great art is always current, it's always trendy, it's always makes a comment on the present, So I remember these are things I discussed with Ijeoma then, and also with you, Salma, about how interesting it could be to explore adapt your dad's art philosophy in cinematography. And I want to see how that turns out, because I think it will be very, very, yeah.
At this point, Ireke, let me do a proper introduction. Sorry, I should have done that first. Myself and Ireke studied drama at the University of Nsukka together, and that is when the relationship actually started. And he was a very gifted, I mean, I shouldn't say was, he's a very gifted actor. But, we had productions where you directed, isn't it, Ireke? And I found him very creative, extra passionate, and after school he went into advertising, but then he moved into film production also. And he's been living in Canada. He relocated from Nigeria, should be maybe 2015, right? Or
yes,
2015?
16. 2016. Yes.
Yes, 2016. So he moved to Canada 2016, and he lives in Canada with his lovely wife and son. And he's, moving to a new place. He had to find his feet and all that, but he's managed to find his way back to cinematography. And so he's had this proposal for a couple years of how to, he has these interesting ideas about film and, researching into Igbo culture and tying it together with the art direction of Uche Okeke. I told you about this Tamzin, and I was going to send you the pitch deck that he sent.
Yes.
But he's here in person, so he can, and this is what he had discussed with myself and Ijeoma, separately, and so he can talk about it right here. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, am I to say anything?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, yeah, okay. So basically, that's it. So, I of course remember the topic is about Ijeoma, so I just so basically, it's like I said, in a nutshell, it's just to see how to explore how we could actually synthesize Professor Uche Okeke's philosophy about art into the art direction of a movie. That's into cinematography. It's still early days yet, and when one goes into production, of course, it's not going to be wholesale, but it's going to be seeing how aspects of maybe scenes, because I don't want to go off track, but then sometimes art could actually provide a vocabulary that could actually help to express a certain state of being in film. Sometimes you watch certain films, like if you watch Taboo, or especially Taboo, where Thomas Hardy talked, there was this, it's on Netflix. If you watch Taboo at 1, there are areas where they try to talk about the metaphysical, right? But then they use cliches like, voodoo cliche. There are certain cliches they use which are found ineffective in trying to convey that certain kind of experience to the viewer. So for me, I'm like, okay, maybe we need to look for a different kind of vocabulary, film visual vocabulary, to be able to express a certain kind of state or transition between present day reality and and a certain spiritual or other worldly reality. But it's all up there in the air. So anyway, so basically, it's something I'm going to find very interesting to see how I can actually make that happen on screen without it looking like an art film or whatever, yeah. So it's all.
Talking to Tamzin about this, before you actually sent that pitch deck, which I'm to share with her. I've spoken to her about also sharing it with her. But we've been busy this month, so I will send that out to her for her to have a look. But I spoke to her about it, and I said, that's one of the ways, because one of our strategy for the next 3 years is optimizing our visibility, our branding, our reach, without, like you said, making it so obvious also. Because today, I was talking with Tamzin, with Ayla, and she said, which I totally agree, that it's little quirky things that people get attracted to today. The smallest thing you can imagine could be what really holds the interest of a wide majority of people. So we don't want to be too obvious and too deliberate about how we do things. We want to, and that was the way Uche Okeke worked. Also, he sort of imbibed you with his idea without your even knowing that it happened. He mentored you without your really realizing, because what he did was nudge you in your own direction, but basically based on his philosophy, and you wouldn't even know. So that is what we want to continue with, and interestingly, most of the people here, in fact, everybody here, is trained in some aspect or the other of the arts, and has had experience in different aspects of creativity, and then they have also gone technical. So you can imagine the blend, So Tamzin, do you have anything to say?
I'm interested in, and I find it fascinating, this inquiry, I suppose you would call it, that Erika has raised, of the visual vocabulary and how it might influence what he's doing in film, because and that idea of what visual vocabulary can bring to a conversation in a different field, in a slightly different field, is quite interesting, because we have a way of thinking about things and telling stories, and we use words a lot. But then somebody like Uche Okeke, who spent a lot of time telling stories in pictures or telling stories in other ways, in concept, they bring a greater richness to our understanding of things. And I love that you're exploring that, Erika. So I'm looking forward to see that.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to you today.
Lovely. Thanks, Salma.
We were a little rushed with, getting ready for today. It was like a big day, that kind of thing. So I will send it to you. And I also didn't want to overload you, because I saw that you were extremely busy. So I thought, okay, let me push it towards the end of the month or to beginning of next month. Yeah, so that, yeah.
Perfect.
But if I send it to you, you'll have over the weekend to look at it. So that will be nice.
Lovely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
It's been a delightful conversation, Salma.
So, Michelle, will I be able to get the posters? Because I may have to send it to our family WhatsApp group also for my mom to use.
Yes.
Will I get it today?
I think in the morning.
Okay, in the morning. Okay. The morning is good enough, because, you guys are ahead of us anyway. Okay.
Yes.
So that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So what time are you planning to post? For instance.
Sorry, Tamzin, do you want to go there?
No, I don't know the answer. I was going to defer to you.
It won't take long. Michelle and I work pretty quick, so we can go for, would 10 o'clock your side be okay? Is that too late?
From a social media
have you thought, from a social media perspective, did you guys really think of what times are best for posting things?
Yes. Yeah, so Michelle usually posts in the evenings after people have finished work, and then lunchtime around is a good time because people are on their breaks.
Like something like this, I would have wanted them to wake up to it, like, I don't know. I would have posted just a little bit after midnight.
Okay.
But I don't know if that is realistic for you. So if it won't work, then
no, I think let's do that then. We'll do one tonight and another one tomorrow.
Okay, so that's fine. So if we get the one, I mean, for tonight, please, can I get it?
Yes.
Can I get so that I can, because I will have to put it up on my status and all that very early. Yes. And then there's a group that has informed for the people that are sort of like involved in Tembi's community, Ijeoma's daughter. So I will need to put something there also. Already people are asking what's going to happen tomorrow, and nothing's going to happen apart from these social media posts.
Okay, perfect. We'll send you.
And because we know that we're planning to do something for her. We've already said we want to do just all, joyful, all
yes.
That kind of approach. So what we're thinking of is doing something in her name, which we said November is her birth month. So we have programs around her by then, by God's grace. Which reminds me, we still need to write to the museum.
Yes.
Shillong Museum, yeah.
Yes.
So, and then I asked Ayla about the Ayla, did you send an email to Engineer Shillong?
I did. I did respond to your email there. I meant to CC you guys in, but I forgot. Sorry about that. I'll forward you the email. It was just a quick one, thanking him for coming last week and saying that we really enjoyed it and it was very insightful, and that I'll send him the recording once the edits are complete.
Okay. Thank you. Because I'll have to on WhatsApp tell him, because I told him that he will likely get the recording today based on how we've been doing things. But, now I need to. But you said in the meeting that you were going to get in touch with him. So I wanted you to get in touch with him first. Yeah. But, he may think it's rude if I don't give him any feedback.
Let him know.
That's why I feedback. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I did respond to your email. But I think it was maybe while you were traveling. Yeah. Okay. So, I've let him know and we'll get that to him as soon as it's complete. Cool.
Thank you very much, Ireke. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And Michelia, it's a pleasure working with you. Ayla, of course, and dear Tamzin. Thank you very much. I see you smiling out of your glasses.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
So, happy weekend.
I was very glad to make it. Yeah. Happy weekend. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.